Yo, and if you got questions, you could jump into YouTube Live, jump in the chat.
We are live, Pawz One Podcast.
What up?
And we're back.
Yo, this time we're actually live. Last weekend was what?
I mean, we were live.
Right.
We were alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we had to do that because we had things that we had to do.
You know, but we still
That's
made
just
sure
life,
that,
man.
you know, we had something for y'all to, you know, listen to,
Got to be consistent.
you know. We didn't start no shit last week. Sorry.
But now we're back.
But XP's here today to tell us about all the rappers he hates.
Yeah.
And why most of you producers ain't shit. So with that, actually, we got somebody who me and Pawz both fuck with. Somebody who we're glad to see out here working. You know what I'm saying? And working fucking hard. My man Xpthemarxman.
What up? What up? What's up, everybody? Tuning in.
Applause, sound wave.
Peace to my man Pawz. Peace to my man Asimov.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Vlog. We up in the building, man. What up? What up?
The
What
fuck
up?
I'm talking about,
There we
Mondo.
go. Oh, shit, we got sound effects now.
Hometown heroes in the building.
That
right
sound
now.
effects budget kicked
Yeah.
in. That's what's up. Yeah, so like he said, you know, we're both excited to have you on here.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
One of the big things was it's been a long time. Like it's been a
Yeah.
good while
Fuck it.
being consistent, doing shit, and being in the same I guess like in the same little vicinity, the same bubble. That was one of the things I wanted to talk about first was like, okay, you figure everybody comes from everywhere else, literally Australia, fuck, you name it. They come to
LA.
LA. And, you know, for those that don't know, LA is, you know, pretty broad term. It could be, you know, Valley here, that, whatever. But there's actual LA, and it gets deep. It gets deep.
But like as like artists shit, and if you travel, you're just gonna say one place. If it's gonna be like, all right, but if you're just
LA,
asking local
yeah.
shit,
LA.
like, what part, dude? What part? you talking about?
And then they have no idea when you do tell them, where's that? Like, how close to Long Beach is that? How close
Yeah,
to
how close-
and
yeah,
you're just
right.
like,
They're not
right.
all the same place.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but with that, you know, people coming here to do shit, and you know, those that are born and raised that have to go through the regular gauntlet of just trying to make shit happen in general.
Add the fuckery of hatred that goes on in all local scenes out here, which is also just beautiful.
Yo, so that was what I was gonna lead up to was, so it's something that a lot of people probably aren't familiar with, but when you're out here, you're pitted up against each other without you even knowing it. And some of that is healthy to a certain extent when it's strictly art and it's, you know, competitive or whatever. But there's certain circles that want to create this divisiveness, so people like, and it's not even for you to win or for you to gain anything.
Nah,
It's more for entertainment. They just want the puppets to dance. So they're like, yo, let's try to make these cats over here hate those cats over there.
Or I'm gonna
'Cause
fuck with these fools and you know not fuck with these fools.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
that,
if
you
that
know.
was the case, you would figure we should just all get together and make our own WWF. And like next week we hate each other, and the week after we're all friends.
and yo, with that,
you know what I mean, we break off into a tag team
all
segment.
fake.
Yeah. I mean, fuck.
the feuds.
Nah, I feel that, man. It's you know like growing up, not only you know having to be here and I don't want to say you know fight amongst each other, but it's almost just like you know you fuck with people that you feel are of a certain you know caliber, you know, and on the same level as you know, because obviously you're gonna get those dudes that are like you know I've only been rapping for a year or two, and you know I fuck with you as a person, but you know can we do a track too? And it's kind of like, man, like
You
if
haven't
you only
really
knew,
done much.
yeah, like if you only knew, man, like how long.
Like,
took,
yo,
you
it
know
took
what I'm
me
saying?
this
Yeah.
long for you to
I mean,
even want to
wanna
rap
fuck
with
with
me.
me.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
that's
true.
the big one. That's the big
That's
one, yo.
the main thing, man. And you know I've always like I stuck to myself, and I've done tracks with you. I've done tracks with like certain cats in the LA scene, but you know we grow as artists, you know, and you started fucking with you know bigger and better dudes than me. I started fucking with bigger, better dudes than you know.
Than myself.
Yeah, so
Well,
like
yeah.
you grow as artists. So and it's easy to make a phone call to you or you know the local cats and be like, hey dog, we should do a song, but you wouldn't see anything in that unless we were of a certain caliber where you know fools are gonna tune in and tap into that shit. I don't see any reason for me to do a fucking track with, you know,
MC Dick Cheese from down the street.
Yeah, dude, it's like, you know,
Fantastic, fantastical,
you gotta grow, man. And
knowledge gaining MCs.
I seen the favoritism in a lot of shit, you know what I mean? And I kept to myself and kept creating in the lab, which is at the crib. So I didn't have to go far. So I guess the reason why I'm able to pump the shit out, that I'm able to do it at that rate, and it's just because I have this shit at the crib, and you know, I work from home, and I just
But you actually work though.
Yeah, that's the key word in all of it. I think that's the one thing.
I mean,
discipline
shit. Pause.
to it,
Don't you
bro.
do the same thing?
have
Yeah.
discipline to it. You know?
Yeah, and that's one thing that, like, so for example, starting from where we started, and then kind of like, how do you stand out amongst all these people that are not only from here, but you know, the transplants, the people that came here to become somebody, fucking shit up, and then the own people here trying to turn you against whoever, whatever, just to see
Or
shit.
trying to make you like sound like Florida when you're from fucking LA, or like all that cool shit.
In that process, not a lot, but a good handful have like somehow like, you know, boiled up, and then like they started
able to
doing
move,
shit,
yeah.
started traveling,
Yep.
they created brands, you know, they've exposed their music, they've become more polished,
Ron,
more
you get the fuck
established.
out of here with that shit.
So it was that process, but I think the key in all of that is what you said is basically work, and a lot of it is, like you said, kind of sticking to yourself. Because I know there was a time when I first started doing it, and I was just happy to be a part of whoever, whatever.
For sure, you want to
Because traction is something.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You
Like,
just want. I mean, you're a hungry artist, bro, and you know you're willing to, you know, hop on the track with, you know, homie over here, over there, and like, you know, you kind of learn fools and how they move too. You know what I'm saying?
Big time.
After the fact, and then you kind of like, if you know he hits me up again, I can't really rock with him like that. You know what I'm saying? Just because of I'm not in that place anymore, homie. I don't create that type of shit anymore. And plus, like, do it for the love was like, yeah, bro. I
did it for the love. Yeah, like fuck.
I still do it, you know, because of the love. I mean, that's what keeps me here. But ultimately, it's like, bro, like, you know, I know we did a song maybe 20 years ago, but right now it's like, I know you want to rap and you see fools handling shit, and we're homies like that, but let's keep it like that.
If anything,
Yeah.
just work. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, bro,
I think-
just work.
I
just
think,
work,
you know?
there's always that, yo, I'll see you at the top, basically,
Yeah,
and the ones that are actual workers and doing this shit.
They see
It's
each other up there, bro.
competition.
Yeah.
So they're like, fuck it, okay, cool, I'll see you.
Good,
let's go. Like, hell yeah, I'll see
and it's healthy, where it's like, oh, that's dope. He did that. That's dope. Like a good example is to be, you know, in another country and to hear people mention his name.
Exactly.
To be in another state, hear people mention his name or other people's
Nah,
names,
yeah,
right?
dude,
But
that's-
there's only
that's a
so
sense
many.
of pride, though, bro. Because
Yeah,
it's
I'm like,
like,
yeah.
you know, because that's like LA hip hop, like, you know, and like you said, it's like the whole LA hip hop as a whole. Like when you hear homies' names in like other states, other countries, like, yo, like that's us, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Other fools would see it like, oh, all right, unless there's like, you know,
But you know what's
issue there,
funny
but
is,
other than
like-
that, that's love right there, bro. That's like
Factions.
you know,
Yeah.
holding the torch up,
Yeah.
for us, bro. And you know, there's only a certain few that have really,
Like, yo, I'm actually from the town.
Yeah.
right.
You right? Like, yeah, no,
And
but
I kind of got over, like, you know, how come LA, you know, isn't at my shows and you know,
Yeah,
they don't support this. Like, I kind of got over all that shit. Like, you know, what artist is, you know, sharing my shit or whatever. Like, I got love for fools on a personal factor. So if he ain't, you know, sharing my shit or like, I don't care because he's an artist too. He's creating his own traction too. I don't expect another artist to share my shit.
Exactly. And it
doesn't
took
mean
a while. It took a while to myself included.
Nah, yeah, and I think it's all because, you know, on a personal tip, you feel, you know, the obligations, like, yo, I showed you love, you should show me love. But ultimately, it's like, yo,
that's one line though. It's
priorities.
like, you know, people get that twisted. And you know what's funny? I love that you said that because it's true. So many people out here, it's like everybody's out here to get theirs.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
everybody can lend their support depending on where they at the moment.
Nah, for sure,
You know, a lot of people think, oh, well, shit, I know you. You know me. That should automatically mean you should, like,
you should fuck with me,
blow
like,
everything I do up. But it's like, yo, my
Well,
guy.
I'll give you an example.
We got our own shit.
I had a long conversation with somebody on a road trip recently, and they were talking about an artist who literally called him and was like, yo, bro, how come you didn't share my last post? And you're talking about somebody, these two dudes were running together like consistently.
Yeah.
And it's like, yo, like, dude, you know, he's done all these things, whatever. Like, why are you not counting all the stuff that he has done? The fact that he didn't share that last post, like, who knows where he was, what he was going through. But
you know, some people, you know, they
yeah.
I mean, but fuck, to me, it's like if you monitoring your shit that heavily, like, bro, are you okay?
No, and I agree. And I feel like that's the
and then
next
fools
thing.
should know, too, it's like, if I fuck with you, like, I fuck with you. It doesn't mean that you have to share, like, everything I do. I'm not going to share everything you do, but when I see you, that shit's all love, and I'm always going to show that love on that.
Just be genuine with the fucking
bro,
love. You know
I'm more
what
of
I
a
mean?
personal cat, like, you know, because I be out here just like Pawz. So when, you know, I see him at some, you know, at a smoke session, it's not even hip hop. Like, yo, man, like, what's up? Boom,
Yeah.
boom. Like, that's the kind of shit I'm into. I don't give a fuck about other fools like hollering at me over, you know, hey, dog, you didn't. share my-" Because I be seeing fools in the flesh.
That's
dog, you
that's
know what I mean?
yeah,
that's
here.
mature.
Yeah,
That's
bro,
maturity,
like-
which is the next thing I wanted to talk about. After doing it for so long, you know, going through what you went through, there's a certain. It's when you transition from like, yo, I'm an
Peace to
MC
Stasia.
or a rapper to like, yo, I'm an artist. Like, honestly yeah.
it just clicked for me this year, dog. I just turned 36 years old, and like, you know, I got to pay gig, you know, and it's crazy because in my head I'm like, how many fools is like actually eating off this shit? Like,
Yeah.
they would have paid their, you know, a little bit of their bills off it, even if they can't do, you know, the whole nine and live off it. Just eat a little bit, like, to sustain life and enjoy the shit still, you know,
Yeah.
because ultimately you could dump 10 grand into some shit, and with hip hop, we all know it trickles back, dog. Like, you'll get like $1,000 in like 8 years, dog, from 10 G's that you pump back
Yo,
into that
And
shit.
that also
Money
just
pit.
depends
But they don't
on,
see that.
you know,
No.
it also just
They don't
depends,
like
you know?
anyone else, you know. All they see is like, oh, this was working, this was grinding.
Doing
But
it,
yeah,
yeah.
it takes money to
Money,
work, bro. Like,
yes,
and,
real
like,
money.
The reason why you're even hollering at me is because you like what I do. So like, don't be hitting up the inbox on some, yo, man, I see you doing your thing, like, let's rock and you know, let's do it. Yeah, I mean, if they're close homies and like, I'm running with fools, like, hell yeah, like, if this fool was to hit me also, hey, yo, I have this project and I got such and such, like, I'm with it because I know what he does after the fact. It's not just homies linking up and we're doing songs, bro. It's like, I know he has
That's just
a
not gonna
vinyl.
stay in
This
a
fool's
tape
probably, you know,
somewhere.
yeah, like, this fool
Yeah.
is gonna invest in some shit. And like, I think at a certain point, you see those individuals because a lot of those fools ain't even around no more. You know, the Weekend Warriors, they ain't really around no more, bro.
Yeah.
Right.
That was another thing I wanted to talk about too. Was the you said, okay, you put 10 grand into something, it's gonna trickle back very, very slowly. But what I saw you do was like, you're probably very analytical. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Coming
for
from the
sure.
streets,
Yeah, for sure,
coming from the streets, like really to survive, you gotta
Does it make
analyze.
sense?
You gotta analyze your environment. You know,
Got to.
daily. So then, but you apply that same eye to the business, whether it's legal or illegal, and then you applied that same thing to the rap game, and you're like, okay, how do I get from where I am to where I want to be? Which isn't my ultimate goal, but it's that stepping stone to get here.
To get
Facts.
to the
Yeah,
next spot.
and I've seen you do that as well.
Definitely.
You know, and that a lot of people don't acknowledge that because it's separate from being dope as an MC, as a writer. as-
Yep.
You know, it's entirely separate because how do you have two things cooking on the stove and not burn either one of them?
Yeah, for
you know what I'm
real. I
saying?
feel that. I feel
That's it's undervalued
Yeah.
because people don't see that, and we're kind of taught not to highlight that, which is a good thing. Because you don't want your door to get kicked in, and you don't want no fucked up
I
shit
mean,
to
of
happen,
course,
whatever the
you
case
know,
may
and
be.
being low key.
Plus, you don't want people to shadow your moves or whatever. My point being is, with that, like, you found a way to take, you know, what you're good at on both sides and combine the two
For sure,
to
man.
create something
I
greater.
appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I mean, you know, hip hop and weed is like, you know, that shit's hand in hand. So I mean, it wasn't really crazy hard, bro. But ultimately, I think I told myself as a kid, I was like, man, like, I just want to smoke weed and rap.
Yeah.
Like, bro, like,
Yo, that's the
all
dream,
that's
yeah.
all I really want to do, and like,
Yeah.
and through that, help others, help, you know, my family, and, you know, help myself, dog,
Yeah.
and do what I love ultimately. And you know, I think chasing that aspect and not like the intermediate money or like, you know,
Yeah.
the quick add water and mix shit.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it was, you know, because I seen throughout this whole shit, like, I seen hella fools just switch their whole shit up, dude. Like a lot of fools, you know, they went to Latino rap because it was an easier avenue for them. You know what I'm saying?
Cash in real quick.
Yeah, I mean, bro. You know that Latin beat shit is crazy popping, bro.
Yeah.
Like, and you know what? It's crazy because much love to that lane and all that stuff. But I've always felt, you know, coming from LA and being a Latino that I had to, you know, stand outside of that shit, bro, because
that's an uphill.
stereotype.
That's the uphill fight too, because
because that's what's
That's
already
the
us.
tough
That's
one.
us, bro.
yeah, because you go somewhere else and they just kind of assume before you even kick a rhyme.
That's
They're
the
like,
label,
"Oh, this
bro.
is what it's gonna be."
Fools are
Yup.
like, yo, check it out, dog.
Yeah, yeah,
And I'm ready
God,
for whoever.
yo.
So
yeah.
But you know,
Yeah, that's
so
the
so being from here and having to kind of prove yourself to those people as well, where they want to hear you rap, and then you know.
I think that's almost like a double culture thing, right? Because there's
It's a little
LA
sub-genre.
and the Latin culture, right? But then there's like hip hop as a whole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you grew up as a hip hop kid, that's the big factor.
That's
Where
I
the
think-
separation
because,
comes.
because that shit carries you around the world. That other shit carries you. You know, I mean, really, it kind of just limits you, dog. Because you know, ultimately, I know a lot of homies that try to do this underground shit, and at a time where that shit wasn't the fashion, fools weren't trying to hear no
At all.
ultramagnetic, like fools weren't trying to hear none of that shit. But ultimately, I think a lot of those hip hop artists, like myself, us included, like we developed throughout the time because we never really switched our shit up to be a certain.
Let me ask
type,
you this.
but raw,
Right.
but essence of hip hop, and I think now that the tide's turning, like. We're just we've been now we can just
Exactly.
move and
90s are
maneuver.
back, baby.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
So,
Like-
do you have an example? Because I got an example of when someone was like, "Look, you're good, but there's no money in that magical fucking shit that you're doing."
Fantastical,
Yeah,
yeah.
just why don't you just
Underground.
do this? I got a story that I could tell. In the meantime, if you want to think of one,
Yeah, I mean,
do you got one?
I can't front. I mean, I kind of, you know, I dabbled in the trap arts a bit. You know what I mean? And,
But I'm saying prior to that,
Oh.
where it was more Latino, like.
oh yeah, like I feel.
Yeah,
It.
or-
Honestly, I think at a certain point there was a label that tried to sign the Rhyme Addicts under like some Chicano rap shit, and like I think ultimately. At that time, where I was hella poor, homeless, like living on couches, and I was with it. Like I was like, "Yeah, fuck it, dog. These fools are gonna hook it up."
Yeah.
Like,
Right,
see, but deep
right.
down in my heart, I knew I was like, "This is that firsthand industry shit where these fools are just gonna offer you maybe like to come to their crib and record and a couple burritos and some fucking cervezas and like call it a day, fool. And you know what I mean?
And next thing you know, they got an album and they touring, and you're like, "Hey,
or just whatever, bro.
yeah.
Like, you know, they sell hella units or just whatever the case may be. But I think having that stereotype where, you know, you're susceptible to
Yeah, and you-
people seeing your skin color and just automatically throwing you in that bin of like,
yeah, and then your own people are like, "Hey, look, you're good."
but nah, homie,
And yeah,
I
but-
can't
but-
understand that
but-
shit, dog.
or they're like, "Yo, like how
like literally word for word, that right there, that should be a phrase on the shirt."
If-
you know
can't
what I'm
drink no
saying?
pisto to that.
yeah," and they're kind of like, "Yo, if you just do this, you just do that, you know, I could get you some money over here."
But yo, here's my argument against that has always been, but how come I hear your ass bumping Ludacris doing that shit?
Right?
Hey, yeah, true.
You know what I mean? And no diss to Ludacris, because
because-
Ludacris is dope as fuck, right?
No, yeah, for sure.
But it's like, yo, see, once again, the
pro-
separation.
Yeah, it's the programming. It's the
program. The
programming
programming
big
is
time.
fucked up.
Programming, G.
I mean, shit. Like I know, like having artists come from different states or whatever, and they come to LA, and you try to explain to them like, "Yo, the tension is like this, and it's thicker in
Yo.
these regions, in these areas."
Yes.
So you know, I try to explain like, "Look, in Long Beach it's like this. Over here it's like that. Over here it's like this."
And tell that story though, dog, about the.
Oh yeah, so
I
there's
wanna
a
hear
couple
that
of
shit.
them, but so that whole scene, like I had a homie of mine. This is when reggaeton was like at the peak.
Oh God,
this is yeah.
Here we go.
That's all I had to say was that word, but like it was bro, it was everywhere, everywhere. I think Noriega had done a song. Like it was getting to that point.
Okay,
it was like at the peak. So they're like, yo, they're already doing that. Why don't you do that? And the homie goes, look, and he did genuinely have plugs everywhere, Power, like all the major stations. He's like, look, if I can't get the song like on there, I can get it broken by the DJs that are on there, because he was connected to a lot of the DJs. And I'm in my, like he said, broke as fuck. I'm in my backyard.
Listening to bachata and shit, like I can do it.
I'm in my basketball shorts, like, man, fuck this. Grass is all dead. Stray dogs everywhere. Fuck, rusted
There's
ass
a hole
like,
in your beater. You know what I'm saying?
I'm just like, yo.
All you got is the art.
Yeah, I was like, fuck.
And you're bumping Wu-Tang.
So I was thinking, like, I called him back. I was like, I can't. He's like, what do you mean? Like, you're having a hard time, like, with the beat? And I'm like, no, I just can't.
I'm good.
I just can't do it. Like, I can't. So that was one story. And then when I did my first album, someone was like, yo, I can get you distribution.
Right.
I was all right, cool. I actually met with the dude from Thump Records. And I was like, that name alone is like, it's synonymous with the shit, right?
Right.
So I went, and he's like, yeah, you know, so-and-so says you're good, you know. But he was, you know, a Jew. He was like, yo, get to the point, blah, 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 numbers, whatever. And I was like, yeah, you know, this and that, whatever. And he's like, well, look, because I was fighting him on the Thump stamp. I didn't want it on there. He's like, well, I have a sub-label. It's called such and such. And I was like, all right, well, what have you released on that sub-label? And he had done a couple of things. I was giving him a hard time, to be honest. I was like, yo, just don't throw me in the bin. This is when the CDs were in 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
Don't throw me in the bin. Like, please, whatever you do.
I don't want to go over and get, you know what I'm saying, get my water, and I'm like,
The sub-label is called Thump Records #2.
Yeah.
Thumpier.
Thumper ground.
It's more thumpier over here. Nah, but hey, man, like, much respect to like all that shit. 'Cause,
Exactly.
you know, I come from that, bro. But I felt like
As an
growing up
artist.
and just as a fan of hip hop growing up, when these fools were like, I mean, even Eazy-E and like Ice Cube and like all them, when they're like cruising on the street in my city, like I'm a part of that. I see that shit all day, bro.
Yeah.
Like, so I wanted to see or listen to and visually, you know, visualize other shit, bro, because everything they're speaking on is what the fuck.
Yeah, I see it every day.
Yeah,
exactly.
Bro, that's my lineage, dog. Like, you know, I got my mom and my dad, uncles, aunts, you know, they're all from Gardena, and it's like, you know, I love that vibe though, bro. Like, you know, that's me. Like, I'm a Chicano from LA, you know.
Yeah, it's no disrespect to none of that.
That's me, homie. Like, you know, that's in my blood. But like I said, I've always seeked something more than what was around me, and all that shit was around me. So when I'm hearing like, yo, son, I got the Timbs on, I'm chilling at the stove,
And then the
all
coded
this-
language.
yeah, the coded, like, you know, the
like, what does that
ebonics and
mean?
like, you
Like,
know,
oh,
all
shit.
the
And just
all
the way
slang.
people would address each other, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like, much respect to the 5% Nation, because to me, the fact that, you know, it's like one each other are gods. You know what I mean?
Exactly, bro. Like, I
And
respect.
a woman is the earth. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Your
like,
wisdom is your. You know,
I understood
like, wow.
a lot of that shit, bro. Like,
wow.
Wu-Tang really like opened up the book, obviously, you know, and I
Yeah.
feel, I mean, through Wu-Tang, I was able to see the underground, you know,
Yeah.
because Wu-Tang held the essence and like the rawness of the hip hop, and I think that's what I really attached myself to, because like other dudes, like, you know, no disrespect or anything, man, because I grew up listening to Mobb Deep and like just real raw, grimy hip hop, and like when I would hear like the homies listening to Souls of Mischief, I fucked with 90, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, certain tracks, but you know, certain hip hop to me was too happy at a point, you know. And
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
was too
No,
happy.
no,
And,
no.
like, I
Yeah.
think I attached myself to the raw, the grimy, the real, the streets, because I was coming from that.
Yeah.
I didn't hear anybody flip the New York style with my story, with what we were growing up with.
Yeah.
Right? We had our Kid Frost, we have Sick Jack, we have, you know, people like that. But ultimately, like I said, it caters to a certain you know, fan base, and you know, it's worldwide shit. But ultimately, I felt all that shit that they were speaking on too was some shit that, homie, I did meth. I did a lot of shit, bro. I did a lot of drugs. I grew up out here on these LA streets, homie. And I ain't afraid to even put that shit in my music, homie, because I'm here now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
And anybody
But you're
listening
trying to go
that music-
further.
Yeah. See, so when you hear other people's shit, other stories of like, them, doing hella shit. Like,
I mean, end
we
of
don't
the
do
day,
drive-bys,
it's
we do
painting
walk-bys.
pictures.
And you're
Yeah,
like, you
yeah.
kind of just trip on shit like that because you're used to seeing this and living this, but you're hearing another person's story and perspective. And I think if you were to float over those terrains that they're speaking with your vehicle,
Yep.
Yeah,
you
I
create
think-
your own shit.
Yep.
I think that's one of the keys is like try to imagine, if
I like that.
for people that
like
for people that do art, whatever it is they're into, imagine like all you could paint is what you see every day, and you got to use the same colors everybody else used. Like, how long would you want to do art if that's all you could do?
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? And so for you to visualize something other than what you're seeing immediately speaks to your imagination. Like I want to see more.
I want to see more.
So that was one thing that was key to me. I remember early on, I had an uncle. He was in the army, and every so often, he would talk about Germany, this, blah blah blah, different countries.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I would sit there, and they're smoking joints in the backyard, playing dominoes, whatever the fuck, and you'll hear them say it, and you're like, where the fuck is Germany? You're a little kid, and then and then Arnold Schwarzenegger. Oh, that's Austria. Oh, that's, and then, anyway, you start putting shit together.
Van
and you're
Damme,
like,
Belgium. Okay, word.
You say that's your geography. So you're like, I want to go there.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit, this comes from there too. Like, so you start kind of projecting. Like, I'm gonna get there one day.
You start manifesting within.
Yeah. So then, little by little, you end up finding your path there. Yeah. Was there a spot for you where you're like, damn, I want to sit at that beach, or I want to go to that building?
And then you touched it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think ultimately, man, was like, the Europe thing and like Amsterdam. Like, I'm a hell of a weed head and shit, so I was like, one day, man, like when we're kids and, you get like everybody together to roll 4 blunts in one session and, you're just like, yeah, man, Amsterdam this, Amsterdam that shit, our little kids or whatever. And yeah, I think heading over there and like being able to be at the coffee shops and like roll one and just see something as a kid in your mind, and you don't even know how it looks, but internally you want to be there. And I think your soul gravitates towards that spot, but you got to do the work to get there, you know, to project yourself there in the physical. You know what I mean? Because
big facts.
Another thing I do, man, when I do travel, I like to just kick it, close my eyes, and just feel that energy. Because no matter where I'm at, I could always close my eyes and then attach myself to that area where I was at again. You know what I mean? So, like, that's what I've been doing since a kid, I guess. Because, when you live a shitty life and then you got to go home to a shitty-ass household,
it's rough.
Anywhere that's happy, you always want to project yourself there. So, I think as a kid, that's what I would do. So now when I'm at these areas and I'm just like, wow, like, I think
in a way you're kind of creating a timestamp.
A timestamp
in your mind. You're like, So
then,
you're like,
where the fuck you at? Yeah.
The smell, the sound.
Even the New York shit too. Like, as a kid, like hearing Wu-Tang, like, and like I would just see myself. I was like, yo, like
you're standing right there.
Yep.
You know
like,
what I mean?
Right next to so and so.
Every street corner has a cipher, and you're like, I can't wait to get there so I can just hop in these ciphers. And then you kind of like, you get there, and you're like, yo, like the essence is always there though. It has that. New York always has that essence of like, this is where that shit.
Yep, it's where it came from.
It's like like when you touch down, you feel that shit. Like, you know what I mean? And then, I guess.
Did it feel like second nature?
Honestly, now it does. But when I first touched down, I was a fanboy, bro. I was like, dude, I was taking
the train,
JFK.
You're like,
your phone's full of fucking pictures from that
random bullshit. This subway sign.
Eating a piece of pizza in New York.
I mean, you kind of have to though, because
it's a celebration though, right? It's a fucking celebration.
And think about it, taking all those little pictures, you end up taking a picture in your mind as well. Yeah. So you're like, oh, I do remember that spot.
And you just check them off the list, like that one you've had since you heard the first joint.
Yeah.
Or when you first saw Can It Be, right? You see that video and you see them rapping in front of the spot with that building behind, and you're like, fuck,
man,
I'm here.
Hey, man, I'm here. That's So I guess, and then doing hip hop and in this climate, that over a 10-year span, I would say, and some, I think now that I'm able to use all that energy, you know what I mean? Use all that energy that I guess I was trying to be like, me, I rap now. Look at me, I rap. I'm dope too. I guess all that energy now is like towards choosing the right shit to give
Yeah.
people and like
Yes,
because
yeah.
you know we don't gotta fight for who we are no more. You know?
Right. Yeah. You're
How many
established.
times do we have to tell that story? Like, yo, this is me. Like, you know, we don't got to do that anymore. So
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that whole anxiety, that whole fucking leisure, like off of your back as an artist, because I think as an artist, ultimately, you know, it's always gonna be like, you know, fuck the fame, but you want to be, respected. And I think in
You
a
want
way,
your peers to know that what's good, and you want your fans to appreciate, you know what I'm
what you
saying,
do,
the craft.
Yeah. And
you
I
know,
think
definitely.
if you work hard on that shit every day, like, you know, you gotta
Yeah.
you gotta pen some shit every day, if not every other day, or up here, however you do your art. I think ultimately there is no blueprint, but that is the blueprint. It's keep fucking going. You know,
Yeah.
they're like any successful dude to be like, yeah, I did it this way, I did it that way. This is, you know, or they could try to be like, look, this is the best way to go about it, but there is no way that is gonna be other than your way that's gonna get you there. Because you know, he ain't gonna be there when, like, you know, he'd be like, you know,
it's just like you know, when he went that route, it was a door. When you get there, it's a window.
it's a window, exactly. And
You know,
there's
next
10
man,
and
it's
there's
a
10
fucking
motherfuckers
rat
waiting at
hole.
that
Yeah,
shit already,
yeah.
you know?
So
the next dude, it's a pinhole. Good
it
luck.
was a left for him. It's a right for you, and it's gonna be like that. But I think that's probably the moment where you found out, like, I'm here. I don't have to keep doing that. I don't have to keep trying to prove that I can rap. Like, I'm already beyond that.
I
Like,
mean, look at shit now. Like, I see so many, you know, you said subgenres earlier, and I mean, I'm sure both y'all see it. Fuck, underground ain't even like in the same way or shape what it was 20 years ago.
Nah, hell no.
Much less 10 years
Especially
ago.
like, you know, the underground, bro, because like, you know, the underground maybe had like, a few thousand artists, you know, that were traveling, and, you know, they had some legendary, you know, underground tracks, and you know,
Yeah.
able to move like that. But I guess we came in the game when all that shit was like, they already had their set players. You know what I mean? They already had their evidences. They already had everybody already up there already. So us, we were the local guys. So now we gotta all right, well, we gotta just keep going. And like, dude, there was so many times within my career where I thought, this is the one. This is it. Or like, this is the show. Or this is the project.
that was that
This is the,
plateau where you're like, this is the one show that's gonna solidify me through the ages.
Yeah, through the ages. Or like, even this, you know. So, and I think every time you get that kind of disappointment where, as an artist in your head, you have this, you know, certain projection of where you should be, you know, financially, where you should be, how you should be projected, or like, you know, just everything. I think if you let that shit go and just work, I think eventually all those accolades that you have and all those, all the bucket lists that you have internally, I think you start crossing them shits out without you even fucking knowing that you're doing that shit, because you're just working towards that shit.
Every so often, somebody
Right.
will be like, "Yo, you realize what just happened, right?" And you're kind of like,
Those
"Nah,"
moments.
and you're like, "Bro,"
you
and
did
you're
that.
like, "Oh fuck, yeah, that was oh shit."
And then you celebrate it on your own time. You're like,
Yeah,
hell yeah.
yeah,
You're like,
yeah.
hell yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I'll pop a bottle right now and fuck it, you know.
Sometimes you don't even want to show that
but
shit. You
because
know what I mean?
because I think, and I think it was harder for us too, dog, because, you know, like there was a gap of just creating, and fools is just crickets. It's just like, you know, like, and then, you know, you get this LA like female artist shit happening, and then they're just like popping, and like, you know, you see certain little things start going off, and you're like, fool, I've been here working for fucking 20 fucking years, homie. What's
yeah,
up, or whatever, you
yeah.
know?
Right.
You're like, what the hell's going on? But I think throughout that whole, like, whatever, I don't give a fuck about.
You shrugged it off.
Yeah, you
yeah.
shrug it off, and you just like, and you
Keep
just keep
working.
working, and then ultimately you're in those places, or you're amongst those fucking discussions that they're amongst, if not, you know, even past that sometimes, you know.
Yeah, for sure. And that's one thing that I noticed too, was like, all right, so starting where we started, and then first it was the wave of kids, where it was like,
Yeah,
yo, this
facts.
15-year-old is doing
Rapper.
these extraordinary numbers,
Cypher
viral,
shit,
etc., blah,
yeah.
blah, blah. And like, you know, next thing you know, they're traveling, whatever. And it's not to hate.
No,
you know,
no,
at
no,
first it's not even, people mistake it and they throw that label on it easy. What it is, it's a competitive thing where you're like, yeah, he's good in that one video, but has he really been applied any
work.
pressure?
Yeah,
Has there been any pressure?
I mean, but see, that comes with the whole other thing too, because that's like your
'Cause that's-
talent, right?
this
It's
shit
like
right
your
here.
talent and your
Phone made
ability.
that shit.
Yeah,
that shit crazy.
it made
The
that shit
YouTubes,
even worse.
Like, we were doing this shit way before the YouTubes, way before the MySpaces, way before the Facebooks, way before a lot of that shit. Like, we had to pop the trunk on fools and like, here's our fucking, you know,
walk down to the fucking
the
Venice
CD,
boardwalk
CDR
and like,
with the fucking, with the Sharpie and fucking, what's up? I got, I'll take whatever's in.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the
Donations.
Kind of shit we
Yeah.
well, that's the kind of shit we.
So it went from the kids, and then out of the kids, there was some young females.
Yeah.
And it's not to it again. This is not hate at all.
No, this is what happened.
So then the females took off, and then I heard a lot of people say, "Yo, they're shitting on the dudes," and it's like, well, what would you rather see, a dude rap or a girl rap? Raise your hands if you want to see a girl rap.
yeah,
I rest my fucking case, and it doesn't mean that they're not good. I don't mean that at all. If you're that fucking sensitive, fuck you.
Yeah.
All I'm saying
Yeah.
is we had to endure all of that.
All that.
Where people
and
got
seeing if you study it for what it is, and you're looking at the music industry more than just like, hey, I'm an artist and I make music, you actually notice, okay, well, I mean, you didn't jump in when your particular wave was supposed to be rippling.
Because again,
you know?
remember,
Like-
we got the stigma of we have that chip where it's like, well, we know you're gonna sound like this, so don't even let that guy rap.
Yeah.
Truthfully, like
Well, I mean, at the same time, think about this though. If you think about some sounds, fuck, maybe somebody was just trying to reinvent what you do. So it's like, why they don't want you in the room?
yeah, or they get you to shelve you. There's a lot of little shit that's happened
That
throughout.
shit you were saying earlier is like the homies pick you up, they bring you around. It's like, yeah, create. Hey, come in the studio with us, and then next thing you know, you giving ideas, you
Yeah.
giving bars, and next thing you know, that's what the fuck you hearing.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, word.
So it's better that you kind of like, all right, I'm gonna step back. I'm just gonna cook. That's it. I'm not worried about who's on top right now. Whatever.
None of that.
Because
And to add to your timeline too, there was also some shit where like I said, like a lot of the underground cats that we were coming up with, and like a lot of like the mustard beats and stuff. That shit started translating into the Chicano LA hip hop.
Yeah,
scene.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then I started seeing a lot of the cats that we blew,
move in that direction.
move in
Yeah,
because
too.
it was just, hey,
Yeah.
I'm trying to do this underground
Yeah.
hip hop hardcore shit, but I mean, who wants to hear that shit? But let me just flip this shit and just make it a little bit more easier for people to listen over this beat.
Hey.
And now these fools got hella hey, much love. But ultimately, I seen that shit. I cooked up throughout
You
the whole
did
thing.
what you did. How you do.
But ultimately, I think throughout that whole time, a lot of these dudes, they got complacent with, well, that's the LA
I'm here.
sound.
Yeah,
That's the LA sound. Like, you know
That's
what I mean?
horrible.
And I mean, to each their own. But I felt bringing this whole LA hip hop shit, like full circle, was just stick to the essence, which is just the raw shit, bro. Like,
Yeah.
just keep
Yeah.
kicking that raw hip hop
Yeah.
shit, And like I said, I dabbled in certain trap shit, and but I did it my way. Like, I never compromised my skills or anything that had to do with who I was as a person to fucking fit into anything. So,
Yeah, you put your twist on it. It's a different
for sure.
sound. It's a different
Yeah,
it's
for
different
sure.
production, but I put my twist on it. And then you're like, you know what? I'm not really. I'm good on that.
Yeah, I'm good on that.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
See,
you
but
know.
as an artist, I think that's what you have to do to just challenge yourself too, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
Because in your head, you're like, fuck, like these fools are killing these fucking trap beats, and no matter where I'm at, these fools are listening to this shit. It's like in your
Right.
head, you're like, fuck,
Yo,
man, all this crazy ass stuff. So you're like, all right, fuck it, I'm gonna float over these and show these fools that I could do some shit. And then once you do it, the fools, I mean, it doesn't have, it doesn't have no
Yeah,
crazy,
yeah.
like you do it your way, it's like a little bit more, I would just say, like, I want to say educational, but just more
Educational.
It's- I know what you're saying.
It's
You're
just
saying
it's just on a more complex, writing level and different shit. So I think when
I
they
mean,
hear
it's
it,
some
it's kinda
shit,
like,
yeah.
that shit's tight, but I can't sit in the club and sip lead to that shit. So I was like, all right, well, fuck it. I guess it didn't really hit that way, so let me just do it. So I guess, yeah, man, throughout what it is.
But it's almost like, basically what a lot of people kind of make you realize is that certain shit, like shit that you hear in the club, it's literally like, we do this.
yeah, it's a commercial for
Don't test us.
yeah. It's just-
You'll get shot. You know what I mean? And they fools are like, that's my shit, son. You know what I mean? Like, yo.
yeah,
And
you will get.
you can't
We
be
do
out
do
here.
that.
You can't
No,
be out
that's
here like
what it is,
saying
though.
some shit about life or your feelings or fucking anything. I mean, again, they always say hip hop at the end of the day is party music, right?
Yeah,
Don't mean it can't make you swing and bounce though. Hearing some dope shit again. That's why I guess Wu just touched us the way it did. You know, like where it was like, hey, yo.
Maybe it was at that time. Who
This is
knows?
amazing. This language is amazing, and they talk about the same shit I'm seeing, but this shit sounds totally different than what the fuck I'm seeing.
But it seems like you found that, like, all right, going through all these different things, and then the sound. You develop that sound. So that's one thing that a lot of artists don't even get to that stage in their career where it's like, I have a sound.
Yep.
A lot of them are just like, well, just throw on anything. Like, I could rap to anything.
Nah, yeah. I think, well, there's a difference too, because I think early on, I guess I was just trying to prove I could be lyrical and like, you know, I got a pen. And
Right.
I think now when listening to like the climate of hip hop now, I just hear like a lot of real shit, like a lot of hurt motherfuckers that have a pen and they're just like, and they're pouring like all their life, you know, like, and over some crazy beats. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, I kind of been doing that in a way, you know, but I got a story too. You got a story too, you know, because I've been hearing a lot of that shit, like just, you know, and I was like, you know what, man, I could survive in that climate too, like where there's just a loop, no drums, and I'm just floating over some shit. Like, fuck it, I got a story too. So I think now with that climate, you know, and having like one of the dudes that created the sound, you know, Rock Mars and shit, you know, big ups, man. I think being in that caliber of like, you know, the sound and being able to flex over that shit without having no, you know, bells and whistles. Where it's just you and the beat. I think obviously, you know, there is a genre for that, but I think I kind of been waiting for that. Like, I kind of been waiting to tell my story.
Yeah,
and
and that's
like,
the dope part. It seems like the timing was just right because you went through everything you went through to get to that stage. Now that you're at that stage, you're like, I could tell my story.
Exactly.
Like I already proved.
And in
why.
what position?
I already proved,
you know?
I can rap, you
yeah.
know? And I think ultimately, like when you start this shit, you know, you rhyme to rhyme, bro. And I think, you know, obviously we all have a story, you know. And I think as artists, you have to, you know, find that way to connect the heart, the brain, ultimately to the pen. You know what I'm saying? And like do it in a way where you're not just like, yes, I went through all that shit you went through too. I'm so sad. Like, you know, I'm not like it's more of like, look, this is me genuinely, and this is what.
Yeah, there's gonna be something in here that you might not understand, but that's because you kind of had to be there,
or just run it back until you get it.
Exactly.
Ask,
or you know somebody who went through that, or if not, you're going through that, or you went through that. So I think ultimately the stories that Chicanos on our side, we're used to hearing, you know, the kid, like I said, we have our set Chicano rappers here, you know what I mean? But I feel there has to be a subsidiary on some shit where it's like, you know, obviously Chicanos could do more, dog, than just, you know.
It's like looking at a family. You're like, all right, yo, that's the, you know, we know he's the fuck up over there, and that one is, you know, man, he just got out, and this and this. But then you got that one cousin, you know, that's like, in his room playing his guitar all the time, got these posters up of people you fucking barely recognize, and like, yo, and he's in that same family, and you're like, well, let him play. And then if you really give it a shot, you're like, damn.
I mean, there's that part too, right? And then there's like the whole fact that like for a long time, the kind of hip hop that we all fuck with, it wasn't really accepted in the LA scene. Like I remember back when, you know, you would hear Cheese Coaster and shit like that.
Shit.
Yeah. See how quick y'all remember that shit? The trauma will make you put that back.
Trigger. I was triggered a bit there.
You know what I mean? Like, yo.
Nah, you know, it was that. It was derogatory. Like, saying that you sounded like that. Imagine being in jail doing that shit.
Yo.
Dudes asked me to rap, and I'm like, I don't, what am I going to fucking, like, what can I say?
Good luck, G.
You know? And then when they know, look.
Just get ready,
bro. And
then,
yo, the most hilarious shit. So you might kick something that you wrote yourself, and they're like, you know, they're not really too impressed or whatever, and they're like, hey, do you know that one Tupac song? Blah blah. You rap, you probably know that song. You become the fucking jukebox, bro. Every Snoop song, yeah, and then you gotta start charging soups.
Do it again.
You gotta start charging soups, bro. Like,
hey, for you
I mean, I might.
He's a flower, dog.
yeah.
He's a flower.
Yeah, it becomes that shit, yo.
Hey, yo, but hold on. You know what? To get back onto what we were talking about a second ago. All right, so you had a whole EP produced by Rock.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't think anybody else can say that shit.
Nah.
Nah,
Am
man.
I correct in saying that?
Nah, I mean, I think he has like a few things in the works with, certain artists. But I mean, as far as our side and shit, nah, man.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
I mean, bro, that right there, that definitely deserves the
Yeah,
salute,
yeah,
the
for
applause,
sure.
the dap.
because
You know what I'm saying? Like on both ends, you know what I mean? Like amazing. You know what I mean?
because you
Like,
got to look at it like this. Okay, going back to it, you're from here. Somebody over there who invented the sound. People literally say, "Oh, like Rock Marcy type beats," right? You go.
I
on
mean, you
fucking
could
YouTube,
say
look it
this.
up.
I mean, this era could owe itself to that
Yeah.
whole
Yeah.
fucking
So-
dimension right there, bro. Like
you from here to go with somebody who introduced that sound and create something, telling the story of a kid who was born here, raised here,
yeah.
on that,
Exactly.
and then taking these two coasts and hitting the whole entire globe with that. So there's somebody in Japan, you know what I'm saying? Somebody in France, like all over that are listening to it. Honestly, they could give a fuck less about it, like where you're from and all that. Like this
Yeah, for sure,
particulars,
for sure.
like the details that
That-
people care
that's
about
very
here.
true.
They're just like, yo,
very
I
true.
feel this.
Yeah, I feel
I
that.
like this. Have you heard this? And
This
that
beat
is dope.
And this shit right here.
Yeah,
Did you
yeah.
hear that part?
Yeah, man. That, like, it's a blessing, man, because, like, you don't really realize that shit until, like you said, like, on your own time, like, you'll get those, certain messages which was like, hey, man, I just heard that shit, that shit's hot, bro, and you're kind of like, hell yeah, like, and I think it's always the quiet, like, victories, man, that we celebrate amongst, our loved ones and shit that really matter, man, because obviously, we could be on the gram and be like, yeah, and all that shit, but I think, like, when you travel with your family because you had a good, year, I think those are the highlights to, like, this whole shit, bro, you know what I'm saying, is, like, the experiences that you can share with your loved ones, man.
All right, man. We're about to ban Ronzik. I just this was that I wish Pawz would rap some Skilo.
Ah, fuck that.
So we're about to ban this. You motherfucker! I swear to God.
Do you remember one of the first things you bought with money that was made from rap? Where you're like, yo, I got paid to fucking
I
perform.
fucking pay my rent, man.
Yeah,
Oh,
there's say
man.
no more. Say no more. Yeah.
That did it. That's it. You know what I mean?
Like-
I mean,
And it's crazy because when I ain't gonna front, like when I first like toured Europe and shit, like I think I came back with like maybe like I want to say like $2,000 or some shit. You know what I mean? But once I came back, I changed the money. So when on my way back, I was like, hell yeah! I'm like, all right, cool.
2 racks.
Homie, they fucking boom, whatever. I ended up
Like
with
a
2
video
racks.
game.
And keep in mind, I was away for like 2 months. You know what I mean? So that's 2 months rent that wasn't being paid. So when I got back, all that bread just went into that. So like.
you're just with your head down. Like,
Damn.
I mean, but ultimately, I think throughout that hip hop process, like that's all really hip hop has like shown me is like, bro, like if you really want that bread, you're gonna have to keep
Yeah, for sure.
feeding it.
It's like
so that
it's
there's
like-
so much in there that when the
Yeah.
trickle back comes, it's a little better than the
And
trickle.
then see earlier on though, like you would earn a little bit of bread and you're like, you kind of just want to hold on to it. And you're kind of like, whatever. But ultimately, dog, like you got to spend to make. So
Yeah, you're like, ooh, where do I put this
I
money?
put this
Like,
money,
fuck,
make some
do I-
fucking
do I-
hats. Do
Yeah,
make some
right.
fucking,
Yeah.
do I make another project? And I think now, dude, like I'll set a limit on myself because there's a few times where I just looked at the numbers and I think I'm like, dude, half of my fucking income goes to hip hop. Like I could literally be fucking sitting really nice if I didn't rap. You know what I mean? But then again, it's like, what else? Like, do I know how to do? You know what I mean?
No, but that's something that where you got to be brutally fucking honest with yourself.
No,
though.
that's
You gotta
real.
be
Yeah, you gotta
like,
be,
yo, this is
Do
me.
I trust myself to keep investing? Am I gonna be self-disciplined enough to keep working and keep putting the money that I could be investing into my family or into shit that really matters?
Well,
right
here's
now?
one thing that I always think about. So I always think like, I remember when my pops passed, I wasn't thinking about what I'm gonna get. I know everybody around me was, but I'm a kid. Like I traded all to have my pops back.
Oh, facts, bro.
But so I was like, all right, Then you find out like, oh well, this went to them, and then I literally got like nothing. And after that, I was like, oh fuck, what I do have is the same name as him. So that stood with me where I was like, well fuck, he gave me his name. So I was like, all right, well, if I create value in my name, I can pass my name on to my son. So even if I die with, nothing in my pocket, whatever, but my name has value.
Exactly.
He can take that name and put it on shit and brand it on whatever. And him and his kids will be good. So whenever I don't see that full return on that investment, I'm like, yeah, but I'm Pawz motherfucking one.
Exactly.
So, and you're XP. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? He's Asimov. And you build these names up because Ultimate Warrior, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Hulk Hogan. I mean, and these are names that will go on. And you could, John Cena, The Rock,
There's a lot of names.
Yeah, so, but it's that name. So whenever, at least for me, I take comfort in that, where it's like, okay, that one kind of hurt. I didn't get what I thought, but it built the name up. Exactly. And I'm not too worried about where I was and what people were going to think there in the beginning where we started. I'm like, all I give a fuck about is my son and my peers. And it's cool. Again, it starts to thin out where you start to see people at the top of the mountain and you're like, fuck yeah, you're winning. She's winning. He's winning. We're winning. Let's win.
Let's win.
Yeah.
And, let's bring it home, dog. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, there's certain cats, bro, that, I feel genuinely, like love for, bro. Like, and have given themselves to this LA culture, bro. Because ultimately there is an LA culture because it's hip hop, but we have this whole thing where it's like, everybody wants to rap. Everybody wants to rap, just like Pawz is always, and it's like certain dudes are going to set themselves apart through work ethic and just through the accolades, man. And I think everybody will see, you know what I mean?
And they're watching. And that was the one thing that I was told. House Shoes was on here the other day, and I went to his house and I brought it up when he was on the show. He's like, he's like, yo, bro, they're watching, trust me. And I'm like, why don't they fucking say anything, right? Because you're kind of frustrated. And he's like,
you get tired of you're not hearing that anyone's watching.
Watching.
So.
But he told me, he was like, well, because no one's gonna give you chips. And I was like, damn, because of the casino shit, the analogy. You're like, they're not gonna give you chips for you to gamble with. Like, yo, they're over here playing their game on this side. Like, yo, they see you in the casino. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, send them a drink, whatever. But it's not like, here you go, sit next to me and play with my money.
Not at all.
Not at all.
Or play with us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's certain areas, man, where I see where I stand and shit, man, and I just like even from that aspect, I'm like, all right, cool, man. I'm gonna chalk it up and just keep moving, man, because that's all I know, dog.
Exactly.
I don't know any losses, bro. I just know lessons, and from that, you can't lose, dog. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I can't lose, bro.
So when they ask what the shortcut is or how do I do this or whatever, and you tell them like work. If you don't win, you learn. Things like, they don't want to hear that shit.
Nah, they're like, oh, well, that's cliche as fuck.
Who do I pay to get here to meet?
You know what's funny, though? Cliche, I guess that word, in a way, is fucked up because it kind of, like, degrades certain gems.
Nah, facts.
Isn't it funny how...
Because they're the easiest fucking gems to catch. And people are like, dog, like... Tell me some intricate shit, dog. Tell me some fucking, some shit did you do
but in the funny,
ayahuasca
that's funny because they'll be like, tell me some intricate shit now, but let me want to rap it to you, motherfucker. But you gotta make it sample,
I have
dog.
albums.
You know what I mean?
I gave you blueprints for years. Straight up.
We've been right here trying to guide you, you know.
Puff Daddy said it his best. We can't stop, won't stop.
Yeah.
Well, see, that's the point right there. You can't stop what keeps going.
Nah, man, you can't. And
with that said, what are some things that, because now they're letting us out. It's they're letting us out to play again. Yeah. Shows are popping. What's is there tours? Is there anything?
Yeah, well, I'm doing the Flea. Shout out to Blog. September 3rd, out in LA.
Yes, sir.
Catch one. You know what I'm saying? I'll be in the building and shit. You know what I mean? But I got one booked show, which is September 16th in Orlando, Florida. Shout out to Gasface Records, my man Sidney Portier. We have a single coming out and shit.
I saw that fucking cover is fire. Yeah.
We got some shit.
Can we see that? Yo. This fucking fired. Pour water on that.
But yo. Also, we just confirmed that we got you as one of the judges for Blunt Sport at the next podcast sesh.
Yep.
So who knows what might happen there?
Yeah, that shit look crazy, man. I've been.
Oh yeah. We're taking it back, bro. You know what I'm saying? Plus, everybody act like they can roll, right? And yesterday
we should do some shit where like it's like heat of the moment where they have to roll a blunt where there's like a drill sergeant, motherfucker, roll that shit
That's
up.
a good one.
Like
Yeah,
certain
that's
little
a good
shits. Like, okay, who's willing to be yelled in the face?
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
To win this. Whatever.
You remember in the movie where he's doing his thing? He's in his fucking white suit. He's doing his shit, and then the dude was like, whack, whack, with the fucking bamboo stick.
I'm saying, some crazy shit. Hit him with the nerd rope. You know, getting whipped with the nerd.
Yeah, you got.
Fucking
Oh,
hit
so
those
that's the
fools with
cover
gummy
right there.
bears and shit, you know what I mean?
This is the single. Okay, dope.
Yeah. My man, he's been doing his thing out there in Orlando.
It's dope.
But that's the only show that I really have. But I think what I really want to do ultimately is I want to just add a little bit more to the catalog and then try to set some shit up for maybe a domestic or international, man.
Yeah.
It's been a while, dog, but honestly, I'm not afraid or anything because I've been out traveling and stuff. It's just I feel time hasn't really been right for me to be, all right,
I'm gonna go
set up a tour because I have hella fans here and there. Like, I think
Right,
soon,
right.
once I start adding to the catalog and stuff and fools start tapping in, once I'm like, yo, who wants to see me rock? And then fools are like, over here or whatever then. But I haven't really, done any of that shit. So ultimately, man, it's just wherever the
Keep
wind,
working, basically,
wherever the wind
yeah.
takes me, man.
I think an East Coast run, like a Northeast run, I think that would be good. I did that a couple
do
years
that.
ago, and we did fucking from Maine down to, I want to say, where did we end up at?
Tour just announced. You heard it
Yeah,
here
I mean,
first.
I'm down.
You can
I'm
hit
down.
us up
That
via
shit, yeah, that'd be
DM.
sick.
So I actually have some homies in Maryland that are trying to book a tour, and they did some of the dates, and then the rest we did on our own. We went up north. So I mean, there's a lot to hit because everything's closer.
Yeah, it's all condensed. Though,
Yeah,
for
so you
sure.
have like, the Albanies and, the New York State. And you have like, there's a bunch of shit, Jersey, whatever, Connecticut. So it's possible for us to set something up to touch those areas in like 10 to 12 days, do like 10 shows.
Ding, ding, ding,
every
ding,
day,
ding, ding,
every
ding,
day.
ding, ding.
Yeah,
ding,
and
ding.
then
Yeah.
basically like, go and not necessarily wave the flag, but plant the flag where it's like, yeah, we're from LA, by the way.
we
It's
doing
too late to not like us, you know?
Yeah.
So they're,
Nah,
oh,
facts.
shit.
Let's do
Yeah.
it, man. Like, because I guess I tried to set up a tour after the Nomads.
Yeah, which was a
Release.
dope, man, that was a dope release, bro.
I appreciate that, man.
That was dope.
Shout out to Ice Rocks, too, man.
Yes, sir.
the-
Yeah.
but
Yes, sir.
I had tried to, but I think the COVID was, like, on the horizon because
yeah.
I was like, all right, I already had South by Southwest and shit, and that was around my birthday, like, March.
Yeah.
And I was hearing all this shit, and I even had asked, hip-hop, I was like, you guys gonna be out there? You guys gonna be there? He was like, I don't know, man. Like, we're not too sure, kind of thing. I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna be out there, so.
Yeah.
And I just remember seeing everything just like close, like just
Yeah, that
right in front of my eyes.
dominoes.
Real
And
fast, bro. Yeah.
It kind of detoured me for like to even because I was really trying to do that shit. Like fools like there was a couple local acts wherever we were trying to do our thing.
Yeah.
They were hitting me, hey man, it's cool. We opened up, and I was like, all right, cool, kind of doing it. And then it was hella unfortunate when like you have to tell somebody like, hey dog, like that shit ain't happening no more. It kind of fucks you up, mentally a little bit. But through the pandemic, like I said, I was able to, just
Create.
sit at home and fucking just rap.
Yeah,
So
just create. That's dope.
That's what that did for us.
You want to give some more shout outs? We're going to play something exclusive on our way out of here real quick. You want to give any shout outs? There's been a bunch of people in here. Somebody asked, Rodolfo Diaz asked
The RA
earlier.
album.
Yeah, the RA album.
Yeah, you know what? We actually have that shit ready, and that's another unfortunate thing because we were linking up right before the pandemic, and we had completed this, project. Probably got like 16 tracks on it. Like every day, well, not every day, but every week, twice a week, we were, managing to link up at my house and just rock shit out. Boom, boom.
Hell yeah.
Until we had this project, and then we did a video, and then not even like I think a week or two later, the corona hit like hella close. Like it wasn't me but it was like super close, and it was like right when that shit, and I was like, yo, we can't really link like that no more,
Yeah.
So I guess through all that.
Somebody asked the Rashid Chappelle project.
Oh, I'm actually gonna play one joint from that shit right now. I'm actually gonna play one
there we
joint.
go.
But you won't hear it because you're not on the YouTube.
Oh, damn, go to YouTube.
Yeah, fucking
Yeah,
around.
I actually have that shit. Well, we have that shit ready to go, man. We got production from Rock Mars, fucking a Buck Wild, DITC.
Fire.
And we got who else is on that joint? We got Slide Beats. We got OCR Beats. We got Recognized Real.
Fire.
I think a couple more, man. But yeah, the shit's pretty much already complete. I'm gonna play a little joint and shit we have, and yeah, man, we have some really deep art that we about to drop on Pawz. And it's crazy how we link, because I was just in New York, and you know, he had hit me up. He's like, "You out here?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Come to the studio." And that day they were doing the street reveal for Fred the Godson. And me and Ilward, dog, it was snowing.
Oh, I saw the videos. I was
bro,
like, yeah.
That shit was, dog, it was like, honestly, like, I got a little bit of the essence of like a park jam, but in the snow. Like, fools were out there, like, in
the parkas,
all the North
food,
Faces, and they
yeah.
just like, bro, it was literally just raining, snowing, but they were there for hip hop, you know, and
Hell yeah.
But it was ill, so I met him there, and then that same day, we linked in the lab. We did like 2 joints, and then yeah, from those 2 joints, I got back, and then he's like, "Yo, let's just do some." So we just started, you know, just back, and next thing you know, we got a whole fucking.
That's fire. How many tracks?
It's looking like we got 12 right now.
Okay.
It's like we got 12.
It's a good number.
Yeah, and every track is ill, bro. And like, you know, honestly, in that shit, we're like speaking on like LA, you know, the Chicano shit. He's speaking on like where he comes from, because he's from Jersey.
Okay.
So he speaks about, you know, the Project City and shit like that, and the you know, the Chicanos and the blacks, you know, becoming hermanos and shit like that. Like, we're kind of preaching that whole shit in there too, but not too much like that. But certain little bars that we're etching, like, you know, we're bridging the gap on some shit, you know.
Just move towards the money.
Yeah,
move towards
the money. You
Straight
know?
up.
A lot of this shit too is him putting his side on it, and I'm putting my side on it. So it just has like this ill, like, just it's
Yeah, that's dope. It's like
has a nice feel to it, man.
It's like both you guys in the same car looking out of different windows.
Facts,
It's
bro.
just describing the shit you see.
Facts,
you know?
bro.
And that's some shit too, because when you think about what that looks like on both sides, though, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
How easily, you know what I'm saying? Like, it don't gotta be.
Yeah, man. And shout out to Rashid, man. That's the Black Chulo.
Hey.
Call him the Black Chulo.
Shout out to everybody in the
Chulo, I
chat.
love that.
Angel from UK,
Shout out,
the
man.
homie Tuna, everybody that tuned in. We're gonna play this song and then we're gonna get out of here. XP.
Definitely, man. Hey,
Appreciate
much
you,
love,
bro.
man. Appreciate
Hell
you
yeah.
too. My
Yes,
man,
sir.
dude.
Yes, sir.
Let's get this tour cracking.
Let's do it.
All right, let me see. Oh shit.
And shout out to this magnificently packaged weed.
Yeah. While you do that,
That was right on time.
Conduct an interview, sitting in my barber chair on how I got up out of the hood, or else be martyred there. I know it started here. For some, it's hard to hear. For every Dave the dope fiend high, a Sean Carter's here. Move like fugitives, and so we harbored here. If business lucrative, recruited or we volunteer. And quiet is kept, we do volume here. Either move like a lamb, they'll take your line share. When your product and options, we plus or minus here. Was thinking major, we was only minus here. Became immune to the violence here. If you see, don't speak, respect the silence here. For any wrinkle, come to iron here. Through the pain and the pressure, producing pioneers. I often return, cause I'm reminded here. And when I'm searching for home, I find it here.
Time later, graffiti up forever. Trendsetters, gold getters with gold emblems. Full spectrum, seek dreams and go fetch them. Too many jewels was hanging down like drip bezels. Raw forever, core mecca, seventh letter. G, shit that shines on IMAX. Max on islands with a drink and a torch lamp. A known fact, speak the goat rat, cold legs. Smoking small batch, words till my throat scratch. There ain't no bags on this trip, G. They got everything I need, mounds and big cheese. Ain't no difference between lords
Well, 1, 2.
Quick, you know what I mean? Like,
What's the name of this one right here?
This is called Here.
Dope.
right motherfucking here.
Shout out to Ice Rocks on the beat. You know,
Crazy.
Rashid's really like crazy with it because like all I did was just rap on it, and the next thing you know, he's like, "Yo, I got this girl on it," and then we go to mix it. And
Yeah, that was dope.
and like bam, you know. So
That was beautiful.
Yeah, no, that's
Appreciate
a
that.
dope. That's definitely something to cruise to. That's
Hell
like,
yeah.
That's dope.
See, I could definitely, sip a michelada to that shit. You know what I
Have
mean?
a barbecue
Like,
and-
you
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
me?
eat some
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
salad to that shit.
have
Exactly.
the kids out here playing with a fucking kite. You know what I mean? All that shit.
Yeah, real
Facts,
shit though.
man. I
Yeah,
appreciate
Cruising down
that,
the street in my 6'4". You know what I'm saying? Nah, that shit hard though.
yeah.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, so the whole album is pretty much on that, kind of context of like, we're both trading darts, back and forth, and it's super musical, you know what I'm saying? The engineer, shout out to, what the fuck is his name, dude, man? I'm having a blank, my bad, my G, but I'm super faded.
Oh, it's all good. You know what I mean?
But
Like,
he's from the Bridge Sound Studios
Okay.
in Boston, Massachusetts, man.
hey, well,
Shout
that
out
shit
to my
buttery. I mean,
Thank
you know
you,
what I
man.
mean? Like,
And it's crazy because this is the first engineer that I've ever I've been in a session with, and he'll have a piano and a guitar, and then he'll hear this shit, he'll be like, "Oh, this shit needs this," and he'll be like,
Oh,
"Doom, doom, doom,
that's
doom,"
dope.
And then next thing you know, like boom,
salute to that man.
like
Yeah.
that's
See that? Like,
was crazy. I
and
never
that's
seen
why the
that.
music is.
You're why music is better. Whoever you are. Like,
But the key,
thank you.
The key and all that being music,
Exactly.
hip hop, underground, all that shit is out the fucking window because it became music.
That
Period.
and just what
Period.
becomes
Period.
dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah. I
It's a
feel that.
word that a lot of people switch it and shift. Dope is dope. It's fucking dope, and that's that.
Facts.
And on that note, you motherfuckers have a nice Sunday.
And you're dope for tuning in. He's
XP the
dope for being
motherfucking
here.
Marksman.
He's dope for helping me out.
Pause
Shout out to
one.
everybody in the
He
building.
ain't shit though.
Mondo.
Right there, you can't see
You know what I'm
him.
saying? We love y'all. Underground Hip Hop Blog, Pause One Podcast.
Peace
We
to
out of
everybody
here.
in the building, man. Much love.
Peace, peace.